Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot and welcome to our Friday reading. Glad to make it to our Friday reading this week. So we've got this one, and then at noon Central Time, we're going to have that live reading. So if you're signed up as a member, you'll be able to jump in for that live reading, or if you miss it, you can go back and watch it. And there's still time. So if you want to sign up as a member, even if you want to ask a question, there's time to do that. I know we have some questions around the third party that we're definitely going to get into today in that live reading. But otherwise, if you want to ask additional questions, you can. You can ask ahead of time. You can even chat your questions in during the reading. So that's an option. That's here at noon Central Time here in the U.S. So that's what that is. And we're just going to go ahead and jump in here. So this is going to be a collective reading for, or I'm sorry, a general reading for this collective. And we're going to go ahead and go kind of broad with it. So if it resonates with you and you're new here, you may want to check out some of the other videos, maybe hit subscribe, and come on, join us on this ride, because we're looking through we're looking at the situation and really trying to make some good sense of it. So I'm going to read for you with the Urban Tarot today, and then we've got the Book of Shadows that I will use to clarify, and then we've got the Elemental Oracle for our Oracle deck. So jumping in, let's look at the energy of the weekend. So this is more or less what you can expect across the weekend. We've got all three cards here. I like to come in and get three, and sometimes it happens very quickly and sometimes it really doesn't. So we've got lessons being presented this weekend, recommending an openness to learning them. Something is information that you're not necessarily thrilled about seeing, but it's super useful and it kind of moves you in another direction. You're in a great position to do something with it. This is happening for your person too. So this is a kind of a shared energy, but it's going to manifest a little differently for the two of you as usual. So we have Princess of Swords and Princess of Discs. Both of these are very I want to say youthful energies that are willing to try new things, okay? And with the lesson coming in with the Princess of Discs, this is really that sense of, it's best if you're open to it. This is going to work best if you're open to it. And it's true for your person as well. There's potential for communication in your person, and it feels like victorious communication, but really just kind of feels like a starting point for them. The Mage, though, this is what gets my attention. So this is all a lot of potential to do something. This is really the ability to do it. So something could happen in this energy, something positive, whether it is reaching out for a communication or doing something that is really going to make a step change in your life or your person's life. So again, this is energy that applies to both of you. So if this is something that you can use, might as well go for it, right? It's all going to be about understanding and being able to utilize the truth. And again, some of this may not be super enjoyable. It may be that you get some truths that they get some truths that they aren't especially fond of. But again, it's very useful. And with the King of Swords, it enables you, or it enables them, to be able to find a way to use this information wisely and fairly quickly. So it seems like you're both relatively sharp this weekend and eyes wide open. This is good communication energy in the event that communication does show up for you. So the way that things were looking in the middle of the week, saw a lot of anxiety, kind of some overthinking type energy. There was a lot of fear that was kind of causing clenching up, okay? And that's kind of what it felt like. There's a lot of self-worth question on your person's side. And even going as far as to kind of stick their head in the sand and avoid information from important sources, potentially useful sources. There's this level of mistrust that they were having, and just kind of not wanting to do the work, wanting to have the work done. That's something that we see a great deal. But here we're seeing a recognition of where that healing has not yet taken place. So this is the Four of Swords. Seeing it in the reverse, though, really does feel like it kind of hits it matches with this Princess of Discs up here, the Princess of Pentacles, that earth energy that says there's a lesson here and you got to be open to it. It's going to be about truth, learning what may feel like a little bit of an awkward truth or a difficult truth, but also something that you're going to be able to work with fairly immediately. And all this energy is like equally there for your person. Sometimes this stuff comes in and we look at the energy of the day and it just comes in talking about your person. In this case, it's very much a shared energy, maybe even bouncing off of one another. So that's a little bit different than we sometimes get. Yep, I thought we had at least one more pop up back here, and I wanted to address them in the order they came out. So we've got the Queen of Swords in the reverse. So remember, we had the King of Swords over here in the upright, Queen of Swords in the reverse, saying that even though it's not about King and Queen of Swords as a couple, they come out separately as separate messages here. With the King of Swords, it was all about being able to turn the truths that you're, like being able to spin them into a plan. With the Queen of Swords, it tells me that you don't make quick, sudden, rash decisions through this. So you may get some good decisions, or at least the appearance of some good decisions from both of you. This is about not rushing it. This is also about better to be, what is it? Better to be quiet and thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it, or something to that effect. This is the ability to not open your mouth and prove it when you're not right yet. Here's the thing though, in your person's case, and this one does not come up as you at all, I get a little bit of a sense of manipulation, control, using this information to control and avoiding the lessons. So definitely a bit of a sense of avoiding the lessons in this energy. So it's coming for you. There's a need to be open to it. You may also have a sense of wanting to avoid the lessons. I get this feeling that you are almost like, you know what, just this time I'm going to completely open myself up. And it's probably not just this time, but that's kind of the way that you approach it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do every time, but this time I'm going to go for the truth. I'm going to do the best I can with it. It's got a very solidly positive vibe for you. I do feel some resistance on your person's side toward moving toward this healing, but I don't know that that's all that surprising. We've seen a lot of resistance to change, a lot of resistance to the healing that comes with that change, not wanting to, once again, take information from someone who may be ready to help them. This is the Hierophant in the reverse. They've got the Hierophant in the reverse, Ten of Swords in the upright, and this again comes across, it feels like we've shifted more into their energy. So this is, and of course this is, if you find yourself doing this, make sure that it's not you, but I don't feel like it is. Don't ignore good information when it's coming to you from any source, even if it's coming to you from a source that you don't really anticipate. And that's essentially what's happening with your person. They've got something here that they look at it and they're not quite sure how to move forward with it. Now with the Ten of Swords here, the other thing that I will say is that there is a sense of being driven by that ancient pain that has often driven them. This is about being closed. It's about not being vulnerable. It's about being afraid to be vulnerable and just kind of waiting to see if the requirement for that vulnerability might just go away for them so that they don't ever really have to face it. So this will, this looks like a situation where they are either going to have to address it or like they are going to have to take the bull by the horns, or they're going to miss an opportunity. That's what this feels like in this weekend specifically. So there's an opportunity for this weekend, and it is a learning opportunity. Got to take those difficult truths into consideration. I feel like you're going to be almost gung-ho about that. You're going to be prepared to do this, where I don't get that sense from your person. Feels like a lot more wanting to hang back and the ability to use the information, but not necessarily a tendency to do so. Definitely a desire to control the environment. So that's kind of getting us started. There's a little bit of a backdrop for us as we look into what we can expect for the weekend, and know that in a few hours here at the noon reading, because this is early morning for me, and then this will come out 10 a.m. my time. Once it's done uploading and everything, except for members will see it as soon as it's done uploading, so it'll probably be somewhere between 7 and 8, and then the live reading will happen at noon. So the reason I make it 10 is because it's pretty much always done uploading by 10. Every once in a while it takes a little bit longer than others. So if you're a member, and that means you get early access to the videos, sometimes, most of the time, you'll get it close to 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit like between 7 and 8. But if it goes a little bit later, it just means it didn't upload quickly enough. So let's go ahead and jump in. Jump into what you can expect over the weekend, because we're talking about a potential for a missed opportunity and a potential for an opportunity, something coming out. Five of Swords comes up. So it feels like it's an opportunity that comes from a difficult place, or not necessarily a difficult place, but one that could potentially be disruptive or painful. You've got the Fool. This is potential. It's not will jump into a new area or into uncharted territory, but it is the potential to jump into uncharted territory. When something frustrating happens, what is your response to it? Is your response to go into yourself? This is like yesterday's card of the day. If you were on social media with me, I put up a card that where I talked about this a little bit. When something happens, you have the opportunity to kind of go into yourself, or you have the opportunity to blossom out. This is about having an opportunity to blossom out, information coming to you to enable you to blossom out into a new place, but not necessarily that it's definitely going to happen, because with this Five of Swords down here, it is kind of a harsh energy to be navigating just in general. That's one thing I will say about it. It's kind of a harsh energy. So what you're blossoming out of is maybe a kind of a difficult situation, and potentially one that you wouldn't have expected to be as difficult as it is. So it feels like your person, it feels like you guys walk into a situation that you think maybe it's not going to be great, but you don't have any idea how frustrating it's going to turn out to be. But you bring the right type of attitude to something like this, and it can really be an inflection point to something great instead of something that buries you in a difficult place. So we've got the King of Pentacles. This is going to come down to, usually I think of the King of Pentacles, or I feel like the self-worth is attached to more the Queen of Pentacles, but this is a sense of deserving. It's a sense of self-worth, and it really needs to be in place in order for all of this to work, in order for you to jump into the new thing, and to be able to use the situation to make for a better situation. So definitely change is being initiated over the weekend. It's like you've been looking for a job for 6 months, but this is the weekend where you put in that resume where something is going to happen. Not necessarily the weekend where it happens. It's where something gets initiated. So a big change is initiated this weekend. It has everything to do with the attitude that you guys bring to it. Once again, feels like energy that is going to be impacting both of you. I would say both separately and together. There's potential for both separately and together, because some of you are going to be in communication, because there is really good information, or really good energy for communication here. Let me see what I dropped. Got a few that fell face down there. Okay, so we have the One of Pentacles. This is a new door opening. Once again, it's a sense of potential for a new door opening if conditions are appropriate, because there's a lot of fear in your person that I don't necessarily feel in you. And I'm like, where's the fear with you? It seems like you are growing in a way that it's not as if you don't have fear. It's just that you're not putting that foot forward. There's something here about using what you've learned, or potential to use what you've learned. This is available to both of you. Again, because you're not in the same place on the healing path, I don't feel like it plays out the same way for you. So this Mage card, though, this potential, the Fool, great potential for something new to happen and for you to get into something really wonderful. Looks like you initiate it, but it's almost like you have to move forward on faith until it manifests. However, you've got this great manifestation energy over here, and I feel like that adds to a good attitude, because this is a kind of a scary energy. It feels like going out on a limb a little bit, and I feel like you are able to more confidently do that in this weekend's energy, maybe than your person is. But that is really what they need. They need to drop this bit about needing to control the situation and allow it to lead them a little bit. Allow themselves to walk through this door, because, you know, it may be that it feels like they're really kind of trying to stay away from anything that feels like obligation, anything that feels like they have to keep a conversation going, anything that feels like a requirement for an emotional investment. They've had the emotions are kind of coming up for them, but they don't want to be responsible for those. We've got a Four of Wands here. Once again, all the potential in the world, new beginnings, happy new beginnings. Five of Wands, Four and Five of Wands. So the Four of Wands is potential for new beginnings, but it's almost like when you put the Five of Wands with its struggle next to it, there is a sense of a huge obstacle to get past or over or through, or there is something here about a new beginning being potentially there, but you have to wait for it, or you have to work for it, or something that feels like taking steps to move toward that thing that is your wish fulfillment. However, it's like having that wish fulfillment in your sights. So this is a Nine of Chalices. This is a little bit of a sneak preview for you. So I mentioned that you'd be initiating something, but that maybe the thing itself doesn't happen this weekend. So like with the job, you apply for it, but it's not so much that you get the call back, but you've done the thing. You've initiated the call. Something here about being able to see this, it's not really like it's visible yet. It's like you're getting a sneak preview of what's at the end, or what it is that you truly want. This is that visualization element, and it's going to be a big part of allowing both of you to manifest what you want, to manifest moving to a happier place. Now, keep in mind, you guys both already have some idea of what that happier place might look like, but there's a lot of fear toward moving toward it. And if we want to look in your person's case in particular, the way that this comes across is like being afraid to walk through that door that you are keeping open for them. You're keeping the door open, but not watching to see if they're going to walk through it. And this is that sense. This is a feeling of them realizing that, not wanting to walk through it, thinking they are being watched. Okay, there's a lot more of a sense of them wanting to hide, feeling like they are being watched, and that's taken away some of their ability to just manifest and move forward. So there's a great desire and even an ability to move to a new beginning, a stable new place with this change that's happening here, but they've got to take the opportunity when it comes and not shut themselves out of it with this fear that they've got going on, because there's an awful lot of this fear that they've got going on. They've got an Eight of Pentacles here in the reverse. It feels like a Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, honestly. So what it reminds me of is you had an opportunity, and this is them, had an opportunity to grow themselves in some way, and instead chose not to do that, chose not to take it. And again, here with the Hermit, had an opportunity to find some wisdom and instead have decided to reject that wisdom. But now it's like it's too late, and they're being forced to reckon with what they have and haven't accomplished. It's not a comfortable place. This is part of that truth that's coming through, and if they're able to accept this and just kind of swallow it whole and say, I'm going to use this as my opportunity for a lesson. I'm going to drop the need to control the situation, and I'm going to allow this truth to wash over me and the lessons to come in. That is going to give this person more of a position of power than they ever are going to have any other way. But instead, they're generally seeking to hold on to these small bits of power that they get through controlling. So it's really about power through letting go, ability through letting go. And instead, what we have is everything starts moving very quickly, and there's a sense of anxiety. So still an edge of what we were seeing earlier in the week for your person in particular. The energy is there for you, but I don't sense that it's catching you. So when we get into the extended, I think we need to understand a little bit more of what this likely means for you in terms of their behaviors for the weekend, because I see this as approaching. I feel like they can see the potential, but they are so afraid of missing the opportunity or messing up the opportunity that's where I'm not sure. Do they reach out? Do they execute? Do they say, let's get together? Do they initiate the new beginning? There's definitely potential for that, but there's also a lot of that fear getting in the way. So when we get to the extended, we'll take a look at their expected behaviors to go with this energy. And then when we get to the live reading at noon, we'll take a look at kind of what's happening with their what's happening with the third party energy and how is that figuring into this? Because I feel like that's pulling on them as part of this fear. So now the link for the extended is going to be down below, and the link to join if you want to go to the live and you're not yet a member is going to be down below that. And then, of course, it'll pop up like a regular video if you are a member once I go live, which you know will be at noon. And I hope you're able to make it. And if not, then you can watch it after. So we're going to do the you portion of the reading now and take a look at what your focus needs to be in this situation, given the rest of what we see here on this table. Because we've got the Prince of Cups. Be careful what you say. It's not so much what you say, but how you say it in this energy. You can say almost anything that needs to be said with minimal issue if you do it so in an appropriate way. So this is about being appropriate in the way that you communicate. Four of Cups. It's almost a numbness. Four of Swords, which is about healing and finding a moment to rest. So there may be a bit of a moment to rest. You're being careful about what you say and how you say it. You're taking a moment to rest, and you're making sure that you're not taking things for granted. So if you've got a moment that you can use to celebrate, do a little bit of gratitude meditation, this might be a really good time for that. This is the sort of energy where you can build greatly on that gratitude, but you can also kind of lose some ground or miss some things. I wouldn't say you'd lose ground. I would say you'd miss some things by not utilizing that. So we have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is really about once you've got an advantage or finding an advantage and using it. If you have an advantage, taking it and really using it the best way that you can. And it's like the best way for everybody. So I do see you moving into this new direction. This, like I said, is a potential for moving into a new direction, but I am seeing it for you. I see you doing it with clear head for the right reasons and with the right attitude. And you are encouraged to continue to be taking that internal temperature and make sure that that's really what you want. Six of Wands in the reverse. Things do not iron themselves out this weekend, but you come out of the weekend with a feeling of having gotten to a better place, understanding a little bit better what it is that you need to do. So it doesn't solve all your problems, but it does get you to a place where you feel a little bit better about it. And definitely it boosts you to jump into something a little bit new, even if it's just going out to like coffee with a new person. Knight of Chalices here in the reverse says it may be a little bit difficult to say the right things. So this is all about saying the right things at the right time, in the right way. And this is saying that may be a little bit tough. It may be more of a challenge this week or this weekend than you would like for it to be. Not even more than usual, just more than you would like for it to be. It's like one of those days where you can't remember words. Only in this case, it's like you can't figure out how to say things the way you want to say them. We all have those days. Queen of Wands in the reverse. So this one I like because it's very much, it's a recommendation or it's advice. It's advice to make sure that you do think before you act. A lot of think before you act energy. A lot of make sure you're saying what you want to say the way that you want to say it. It's not so much about calculating, but about not just jumping out there and doing any old thing. Definitely think before you act and make sure you know why it is that you're doing what you're doing. That is very important, especially as you're jumping into something new, which it looks like you will be doing. Then we've got the Knight of Wands in the reverse. So heads up, because your person or someone else is coming in to exert some sort of control. And this is a cycle that you've seen before, whether it's your person and you've seen that cycle from them, or it's a new person and you've seen this before, and you're going to know you've seen it before. The thing is, I think you're going to handle it a little bit differently. So this is maybe where you get yourself into a situation that looks similar to something that you've dealt with before, and instead of handling it, anything that you didn't like about the way you handled it last time, this is the opportunity to make it right and to do a better job. There is also a sense with the Six of Pentacles of almost putting that energy out there of doing a better job with it. It's saying we're going to handle this in a way that makes more sense. going to handle this in a way that is mutually respectful, where maybe the last time you experienced this, you didn't walk away from it feeling especially respected. And that's kind of the sense that I get. That's what's going to be different. You also have the Two of Wands. This moves you to a new place. This allows you to take a trip, travel a distance, and I don't feel like it's so much a physical distance. This is an emotional distance that has you a different, you're on the road. I don't think you are a different person by the end of the weekend. I feel like you're on the road to being a different person by the end of the weekend. And it's also relevant here to that feeling of, with the Wheel of Fortune, initiating something that's going to bring about a change. Still plenty of struggle, still kind of trying to move in between the difficult pieces and the difficult times, difficult energies, understand what to do, how to do it, how to communicate, when to communicate. So these are all things that may not be super easy for you, but I feel like you're going to approach them with the right attitude, and that makes a huge difference. By the end of the weekend, you end up starting to have created a shift, even if you're not quite feeling it yet. So I'm going to stop here for this portion of the reading. Like I said, we're going to go into the extended now. We're going to expand on this energy here. We see it, but what exactly is it likely to drive? So we'll take this and kind of go deeper into what is your person, what kind of behaviors can we expect from them? What kind of maybe there's movement forward, but what does that movement look like? You know, so that's what we'll look at when we get into the extended. And then, like I said, when we get into the live reading later for members, that one's going to be at noon Central Time. We'll talk at least about third party and then other things as they come up for you. So that's where we're going to go. I will see you in the extended. I may see you at noon, and I will hope to see you again in tomorrow's reading.